Oh, g'day. Yeah, check this out. I found this broken stove and put this. See, it don't work properly. It gets really hot over in that section there. So what I've been able to do is put on a plate that I have for putting the jack underneath if you break down. Or if I was to break down, then I'll put this plate underneath the jack so I can lift up a 12-ton vehicle without sinking into the ground, or not as much, you know. It's a stable plate. Then you can put this on, and so that gets hot eventually. It took a long time, and then I can get my cup of coffee. And then you just put the pan on there and cook your breakfast. That's if you're having something other than a dingo's breakfast. You remember what a dingo's breakfast is, don't you? A drink of water, a piss, and a quick look around. Now, the reason I just showed you that, because that's just something handy that I just put together. You make do with what you got. And that's how things are going to have to be in the post-apocalyptic scenario. And I'm not going to show you the rest of the environment that I'm in, because even a bloke like me could possibly be a little bit embarrassed if people were to see like just what kind of scenario we're living in. But you know, this is how we're living, and we're talking about post-apocalyptic. Are you going to live post-apocalyptic? See, most civilized people out there, they're going to eat each other when it comes to just a little bit of a test. Where am I looking? I'm not looking there, I'm looking here. There you are. I keep thinking the camera's down there. I'm sorry about that. So, most people, when they're put to the test, they're going to eat each other. If they last that long. If they last long enough to think, then they will have already eaten each other. And there's not really that much difference between how a lot of people are living inside their own minds, inside their own hearts, inside the heart of hearts, deep in their belly, deep in their liver. You know, where do you live from? Why is it called a liver? You know, where do you stew over these things? So when we stew over all kinds of different things, it can become life and death in a number of different manners. Suicide is one. Recklessness, anger is another. Stupidity is another one. And then there's this desperate need to break free and to have a change and to fulfill something deep in yourself. Or just the need to change whatever the hell is that you're living. And it is really how we see it, how we live it, how we feel it, what we believe it to be, what we perceive it to be. So we can change that experience with music, some dancing, exercise, bit of martial arts, kung fu, even play a game, which fucking kung fu, that's what I play with the dogs. And also with the dogs, you know. See, what have I got? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 dogs within my immediate proximity. So I've got every direction covered. And that keeps me in some kind of state of being a better person for the rest of the world. And making sure that the rest of the world keeps spinning on its axis and all of that, you know. So we all have these difficult times that we face within ourselves, and particularly lately, and I can give you all kinds of very interesting new science and ancient knowledge and understanding about why that's happening. I'll give you a hint. It's all to do with the sun. Now, the ancients knew about this. All the native cultures know about it. It's written on the rocks tens of thousands of years ago. Now we have these cycles. So we've got one now that's coming. 12,000 year cycle. But did you know that there's also a 600 year, 1200 year, 1500 year, 6,000 year, and then that 12,000 year cycle? And the other thing is that might be part of a larger cycle, is looking about 24 to 26,000 years as well. Now, there's all kinds of stuff written on all kinds of caves and all kinds of places all around the world. In this beautiful country, the original people here, this land, they've been here a very long time intact, and they've travelled very far distances in these kind of times. And they know all kinds of things. There are mountain ranges that are now underwater that they used to traverse. So they've been around. The dreaming is something that's there for you in this country. You dream by creation, you dream. And the dreaming is not something long ago, it's a constant. The dream time, the dreaming is a constant state, and it's something that's very real. And it's got a power, like the power of the Christ. If you ask the Christ, then the Christ will answer you, and will help you, and will support you. Same as dreaming. If you ask the dreaming, then it's like the power of the Christ, but on a cosmos level. Instead of being focused into this one, like, here's the power of the Christ. Whoa, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jesus Christ. And can you feel that? You can feel it, can't you? Thank you, Jesus Christ. Thank you. But that's taken me to the center of the earth, and I connect to the center of the earth. And there is the dreaming. And it spreads to the entire cosmos, the entire living universe from which we were born. So you've got that too. All of you do. We all do. We all got it. We all are it. And the only separation from that is within ourselves. Now, this big thing is going to happen. We're overdue, in fact, by all measures. So we've got all these big cycles that need to come around and keep going. This century, our lifetimes. And when they happen, you're not going to know about it, for one. And even if you did know about it, you're not even going to have enough time to bend over, stick your head between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye. So what are you going to do about it? You're just suddenly going to be dead. So for most of us, we're going to be running around like headless chickens in the dark, ignorant. We're like fish out of water that don't realise that we're actually in water. You know, like we're like fish swimming in an ocean and we don't even realise that we're in an ocean. And then we're acting like we're out of water. Look what we're doing to ourselves. Look at the thoughts that we have in our own minds, our own self-talk, our own dialogues that we say to each other, ourselves, just ourselves. And then the things that we say to each other, the closest people in our lives. And then the people in our lives that we see now. And then the people that we never see again. We create from this point of madness most of the time. All of us. No one's exempt. Because if you're exempt, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be doing this. You'd be doing something better with your time. Now, what are you going to be if suddenly there's no power, there's no water, there's no sewage, there's no cars, there's nothing electrical, and possibly you're unable to see or can't handle any light stimulation, you feel dizzy, nauseous, loud ringing in the ears, and you're a terrible migraine for 3 days. then what? Are you going to become someone who has their faculties about them and thinks something beyond fighting and clawing tooth and nail for a piece of rotten food or some rancid water? Or something that might keep you warm? Or will you run from a pack of wild, hungry dogs? And then leave a baby to be torn apart by the dogs so that you can get away? What kind of person will you become if suddenly you're living after the end of the world? Because believe me, if there is some massive cataclysmic event coming, you want to go in the first wave. You don't want to stick around to see what people can do to each other. Now, that being said, what are you fussing about right now in your life? What's getting you down? What's keeping you down? What's holding you back? Because it's all you. It's all just you. It's not anyone else. Nothing changes except you. But when you change, the whole world changes. And this is why people commit suicide, because they get so lost in themselves, forgetting that they are God. The Million Masks of God, as in Chesterton's poem. Forgetting that they're God, playing a trick on themselves, seeing what it's like to be someone who's forgotten who they are and what they are and why they're here. There's just a bloody plane coming over where I am. I'll just press pause for a minute. But you don't know when you're going or how you're going. You don't know what's going on for anyone else. If you're having a difficult time, then rest assured everyone else is having just as hard a time, feeling out of control, feeling overwhelmed, feeling isolated, feel like they can't listen to the noise inside their own head, let alone handle anyone else's noise inside their head. We're being upgraded and updated by the sun. That's what's going on. There's more academic papers coming out than you could poke a stick at. Every week. Bit of light reading, only takes about half an hour to read them. Around 9 or 7 in the morning to 11 in the morning is the best time. That's when your mind's more active and clear. Particularly if you only have a dingo's breakfast. If you eat something for breakfast, then that's good too. Quite often I do eat in the morning, but I do go for the dingo's breakfast quite often as well. It's good to run the system a bit lean, you know. You know, when you're riding a motorbike and you're out there chasing after the horses and bloody cows. I don't chase after the horses and motorbike, I'm sorry, but you know, when you're out there chasing after the cows and the cattle and the sheep and trying to dodge the kangaroos, you've got to jump over those contour banks and it's a bit flooded, so you've got to make sure you get that full air. Otherwise, if your back wheel lands in the mud, then down you go and you're a long way from anywhere. And then you've got to flick over from your fuel tank from the main to reserve, and it starts to run a bit lean. And you're trying to make one of those bloody jumps, and you've got to squeeze your ass cheeks together and hang on for dear life and hold it over and reach down with your left hand and swing that around, and then make the big jump, and then get that air, and then you've got to hold it, get it over. So you're putting all that power of yourself. It's like, you know, when people grab onto the bloody seat in an aeroplane when it starts to take off down the runway, and they're holding on and they're leaning forward like they're helping that plane get off the air. Don't you worry about that. And then when it pulls up, when it lands again, everyone grabs onto those seats. Don't worry, they're making that plane pull up. That's our power. That's a power that we have. It's in us. It's in us. So anyway, that kind of jump in the middle of the work, when you got a job to do, jumping over a contour bank. You don't jump over contour banks when you're mustering because you got to get that road cow to get in the way. Otherwise, you're going to break through the fence, and the rest of them are going to be gone, and you're going to be the one wearing the blame. Not me. It doesn't happen under my watch. Not if I'm out there. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. You have some bloody young kid mess it all up. But I'll save the day every single time. Every single time. That's what we got. Keep taking another breath. Savor that breath. Live your life like you're jumping over that contour bank. Hard after that rogue bull. He's put a challenge onto you, and he's gotten away, and he's going through that weak spot in the fence, and he's going to tear it open, and there's going to be 637 cows going straight after him, and you're in between that bull and the rest of the herd. You got to stop him. You got to get around. You got to get over that contour bank, and you got to land the right way. Even if you only still got one hand on the steering wheel, it's on the throttle. And you change that fuel tank from main to reserve, and you might not have kicked it in there, but you got to find that gap between the time. This is what I'm talking about. That's that 0 point, -0, then the -1. There's a lot of time there. There's a lot of time to live. There's a lot of time to live in between each breath. There's a lot of time to live in between each heartbeat. I'm most at peace when someone's swinging a bloody sword at my head. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of time there. Hear bullets cracking over your head and start feathering out and tailing away. Arse cheeks clench up. And you get down on the ground. You find out what the fuck is going on. Where the hell did that come from? Well, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. You decide what you're going to do. You stay on the ground while you decide. You don't get off the bloody ground again. All the bullets whizzing around. And you crawl on your elbows and your knees and your ankles and your testicles or whatever you need to do. I tell you what, there's a lot of time. There's a lot of time to live. Depression could strike us, you see, because stuff going on with the sun. It's affecting us. We're being upgraded and being updated. Try using something that gets updated. Try using it while the bloody thing's being updated. You can't. Try using something while it's being upgraded. You can't. It's unusable. That's what's happening with us, right? And we might be suddenly depressed, and then suddenly we feel fine. We might feel like going to the beach, we feel really good, then suddenly we just can't possibly fathom how we could leave the house. Certainly can't handle anyone else talking to us, having to listen to all the noise inside their head. Ugh. We feel real energetic when we get up, take the dog for a run, and go over and see someone who might be able to have a bit of a nice friendly afternoon with, and oh God, I'm so tired. What's the matter with me? We might feel like we're always coming down with a bit of a flu or something, but we never actually do. We might feel hopeless, we might feel lost, we might feel destitute, we might feel stresses of all different kinds, and it locks us in the different parts of our brain are stuck activating. Well, if you can let go and surrender to the sun, surrender to nature. If you see a waterfall that's freezing cold and deep enough to swim, then get your kit off, get in there, surrender to the cold, surrender to it. We can deal with this. We're very well evolved in all facets of our physical body to be able to handle certain kinds of stresses. And all those certain kinds of stresses are about us living and surviving on a day-to-day basis. Just like the rest of the animal kingdom that we're a part of. We don't necessarily have the best coping responses to deal with stress that comes from someone pulling out in front of us while we're doing 60 k's an hour and then pulling away in their smart, fast electric vehicles. Then you've got instant torque on demand without having to get into a certain kind of torque ratio, torque range, revolution range. You know, between 3 and 5,500 revs, they got that going. You know, but the electric ones, they're just and the bastard pulled down in front of me. I had one pull down in front of me. Never had a bloody accident ever. Someone decided to do a 3-point turn in front of me. I'm only doing 30 k's now, but the bloody thing has got these electric solenoids, so it takes all this time, and then a bit more time, and there's this stop time in between. So there's a good example of what I'm trying to say. If you're driving an electric car and you've got this solenoid that goes between forward and reverse, there's a pause time where you're very vulnerable. Live and die once, at least, in that pause time. You're doing a 3-point turn, that's twice. There's 2 changes there that you live and die once. Live and die once in every breath, and then live and die once in between the breaths. So I'm out of breath, ready? Now live and die once. Well, that might take a while, but anyway, I'll take in a breath, and that's an inhalation I've taken in life. I breathe in a new opportunity, and as I breathe out, I forget all that I know of anything, of everything, at all, myself, the universe, life, whatever, anything. I breathe in a new opportunity. And as I breathe out, I forget about everything that I know about myself, who I am, what I am, how I am, why I am, where I am, when I am, and what this universe and life and all that. I don't know nothing. Let it all go. I breathe in a new opportunity. All the way. Hold it. And now I'm living and dying once in each breath. Carbon dioxide, oxygen exchange, compression. It's here in the back there. See, I do kung fu, so I've got to compress the energy. And then, so it doesn't hurt, you see. That actually bounced my hand away like as though my hand was like a tennis ball and my head was a tennis racket, you see. It's just so full of energy. So full of energy. That's why I'm so smart as well, because it's just so full of energy. So all that energy I just snatched into my lungs, I've now compressed it into my head. Now, don't you do that at home. You need to practice Qigong and be a master of Qigong for a very long time. Now I take it out of my head. And I press it down in my abdomen, down through my legs, through my knees, through my ankles, through my feet, through the floor, and to the center of the earth. Don't practice that one at home for a very long time. Don't practice that for 20 years. Practice this one. Have your pelvic floor and your anal orifice activated as though you've got a Nico up your ass and you're trying to write your name on the floor, and then just pick it up. So draw it up, pick it up, and then stretch it up. And then draw that straight up your spine at the top of your head, up the back here, the back of your head. Consolidate it there, and then let it come through so it wells out. So it's like this, and it wells out and fills, and then you let it come through, and then you come down through your face, and neck, chest, your face, I beg your pardon. And here is where the 2 points finish, or 2 channels finish. One channel finishes, the other channel finishes, so they link up here. Put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and then here. That's the point underneath on the inside of the lips. It's called the microcosmic orbit. So we just start again. So activate your perineum and your anal orifice, your annular ring, white ring shoe, annular ring, and draw that up gently. Bring it up the top of the head, and then bring it down through the front of the head. Fill all the brain, renew your brain, fill it with oxygen, and then bring it down here, tongue on the roof of the mouth, and then link it down through. Come down neck, chest, stomach, in your abdomen, or dantian, sea of chi, let it separate. Come down through your legs and the bones of your legs, through your knees, through your lower legs, tibia and fibula, through your calves, through your ankles, through your feet, through your toes, and into the bottom of the feet, and into the floor, and then the center of the earth. We'll do that 2 more times. Breathe that in. Base of the spine, top of the head, picking up the pelvic floor. Hold the head, then bring it down to the face, neck, chest. Crack your nose out, come here, feel the base of the throat, and then bring it down through the chest, down in the stomach, down into your abdomen. Feel it separate. Go down through both legs, through the bones, through the knees, through the bones, through the ankles, through the feet, through the bones, through the toes, out through the bottom of the feet. And then one more time, pick up the pelvic floor, breathe it in. Breathing through here, snatching the breath in, consolidate it, pick it up to the head, take it back around, and bring it down through the face, the neck, chest, stomach, into the abdomen, the dantian, sea of chi. Separate through the legs, through the bones, through the knees, through the lower legs, the bones, muscles, ankles, the bones, feet, bones, toes, bones, out through the bottom of the feet, into the ground, down the centre of the earth. Now practice that. Make that as your background thing that's going on. Now you're already thinking anyway, and you're already breathing anyway. So there is something that you're doing anyway. The hard work you're already doing. Just put a bit of attention and focus to that, and that'll make you a hell of a lot healthier, a hell of a lot fitter, a hell of a lot happier, a hell of a lot stronger, and a hell of a lot better in bed. And there's all the reason you need to live for right there, isn't it? And if you do that, you'll actually be living. Because are you really living now? How many of you out there are actually really living? Like right now, this next breath you're taking, how alive are you right now? Take that breath in. Are you alive? How alive are you? Are you really living? Are you living your life? Or are you just coasting along? You're just existing? Is it a fulfilling, satisfying existence? If not, the only thing that you can do is take that breath into your body. Get it in there. Get it deep. Compress that breath and use those muscles to push the breath around the body. The breath carries chi, energy, life force energy, oxygenate the blood. Disease can't exist in an oxygenated environment. Move it around. Breathe in. Keep taking that other breath. Compress that breath as you breathe out. Let go of all that you know of anything. Breathe in a new opportunity. Pick up the pelvic floor as you do. Let go and let go of everything out of your chest and your shoulders and your neck and your head. You don't know nothing. You don't carry nothing. You've got no burden. Let it go. Breathe in a new opportunity. This is the only way that you're going to get close enough to yourself to know whether you're going to be the kind of person that if you wake up and you're not dead and the world ended while you're asleep, are you going to be the kind of person that's going to eat everyone else around you for your short-term survival? Or are you going to be the kind of person that chooses not to do that? It's basically all it comes down to. My name is Bushtralian Jim. In a solemn time now where we are facing some challenges within ourselves. Interestingly, astrology's seen all this from thousands of years ago, and all the solar activity is matching exactly to that. You know, there's so many coincidences. So in this time, act from your heart. Connect to your heart. Go into your heart, the heart of your heart. That's where the center is, where stillness lies. The heart of the wheel of karma. Where you're free from the centrifugal forces of life. And that's the only place you can make any significant change. And that's ideally where we want to stay, but the centrifugal forces of life do throw us back out into the wheel of karma, the wheel of life. And we find ourselves in a struggle against ourselves. Doesn't matter who you are, you got a heart, and you got a heart of that heart, and that is the center. And you're still God's child, no matter how bad you are. There's no good or bad people either, by the way. I shouldn't use that word. We are all one. In your heart of hearts, you'll find yourself and you'll find each other. And in fact, in the higher levels of consciousness, you can't even differentiate yourself from each other. You can't recognize yourself being a separate person, a separate being, a separate heart, a separate experience from everyone else. Try and get your head around that. The only way you can is by surrender. Let go of all that you know, of anything to be. Breathe in a new opportunity. Keep taking another breath until that's not an autonomic. Don't ever cut yourself short. And that's the other thing I forgot to say. So I was saying, this Bushtralian Jim signing off, but I'm not signing off yet. I've got one more thing to say. If you kill yourself, you'll be counseled by some masters. You'll be given a little bit of time sometimes, depending on your circumstances. But most people that kill themselves are put straight back into a body without any choice of who, where, what, why, how. Whereas in, let's say, in this life, you got choice. You chose your parents, you chose your social, geographic, economic, political situation. You chose your body, all of that. And if you kill yourself, then you'll be counselled by the masters. They'll come and see you, and you'll have a chat. You'll have a look at your life, you see where you went wrong, you'll acknowledge that you made a contract with God and you reneged on it, and you'll be taken by them. And after, you might get a bit of a rest with that, but you don't really get a rest. Like when the rest of us die, when you die naturally, you get a rest. You get a rest and you get to enjoy all the things you've been wishing for that you didn't get. As though that sounds like bloody torture and pain. Apparently it's quite good. And then you move on. But if you kill yourself, if you commit suicide, then you don't get that. You don't get the rest. You don't get to enjoy anything. You get this terrible anguish. You get to see what you left behind and the way that it's affected those that love you, and you get to feel this incredible remorse and shame and guilt and stupidity, and you feel quite ashamed of yourself for what you've done to the people that loved you, and then you put straight back in the body, normally within a couple of hours. So you see all this stuff about funerals and all this kind of stuff and people lingering around, like, it's not like that. You kill yourself, normally by the time someone finds you dead, you're already back in another body that you don't have any choice about. You didn't choose your parents, you didn't choose your environment, you didn't choose your social political situation, you didn't choose whether your body works, you're functional. You know, it's like there's, what is the karma with a lot of these invalids that get around? A long time before there was any injections of inoculations that were going into people, you know. Although that did start in World War One, but you know, you get these cases where people are just locked in themselves, aren't they? Is the most they can communicate and all of that. And I was with someone the other day, and I was just sitting there feeling them. And like whenever I see them, I sit there, I feel like, and I pray to God. I pray for them. I pray very sincerely every single time. And I tune in, I feel their energy, and I feel their soul. Makes total sense to me. Because I always wonder, like, what is going on there, you know? It makes total sense to me to see, like, if you kill yourself and you're at a certain stage, and that might be the only place that you can go then, you know, you're locked in. Bang, there you go. Now you're going to have an experience. And we go through that, then you get to have a body back and have these faculties. You know, see how much skill I've got here? You know, I'm a pretty skillful fella, you know, it's because there's been a lot of practice. And I've thought many times about killing myself. And I'd undo all of those lifetimes of practice. But, you know, there's responsibilities that we have. I wasn't going to say so much, but here I've said so much, so I'll say this. There's responsibilities that we have that keep us here. And that can be the big motivation. But it's actually not. There is something inside us all that is the divine. That is heaven. That is God. And it's something that's bigger than any of us can conceive or describe or talk about or relate to in any other way other than to surrender and to wonder in complete awe from a distance of it being a part of ourselves. And that's that reason. There's a reason to keep going. There's a reason. See, what's my eyes here? You can't really, I can't really see if they're on, but you see the pupil dilating, contracting with the light. That's wonder in itself. That's magical wonder. We got a reason. Now I've got this solid valley here. He's the king. Aren't you, my mate? He's the king. He keeps me super solid. I've got a number of other therapy dogs. All spawned from this super Elvis here. My best mate. So if you know anyone who needs a dog, PTSD, these dogs are bred specifically for people that have come back from war. Civilized people. Growing up here in the first world, gone to fight a righteous war somewhere else, do the right thing, and then they come back here and then they're having a hard time. Those kind of people, these dogs match those temperaments exactly, particularly if they've seen combat. They shot at people. They killed people. Thing is, you're shooting someone 300 meters away, you don't know whether you killed them or not quite often. If they stop shooting back, you don't know whether you killed them or whether they've run away. I had one bloke spent 11 years firing a 50 caliber machine gun from the top of a vehicle. 18 years old to 29. That man's haunted. If you know anyone who needs dogs, there's a phone number that goes with this crazy face. That will never change. Actually lost it a few years ago and I had to fight for 3 months to get it back. Now, I've been through incredible hardship in my life, so I know. But then I treat every case completely new. I don't know shit. I learn from this child of God in front of me that needs help. So my number's 0415 971 010. Yeah, that's far enough so you can find that far and wide all over the World Wide Web. I've got dogs I'll give to people in need. I do a range of healing medicines. I'm up to date with some of the latest science. I'm smarter than most of the blokes at NASA, just for the information that I have digested in the recent past compared to what they could have. For the latest updates, I'm aware of how fields are changing. I got information. I get in the shit with people and I walk through their shit with them and I turn it into manure. And then by the time we get to somewhere that I don't need to be walking through it with them, then they've got a lovely garden. Produce or weeds, but certainly not produce or flowers, I beg your pardon, but certainly not weeds. Now, our natural state's unconditional love. Tragedy is that we can't really feel that for others because we're not feeling it for ourselves. So, maybe we start feeling that for ourselves. And if you can't do that, then get near a dog. A dog will teach you how to do that. And a dog will teach you how to do it for each other. Communicate well with each other while you can. Communicate from the heart with love. If you're going to make a joke the way I make jokes. I'm just stupid, a piss take. Not giving anyone shit. No hidden meaning about anyone. If anyone's the idiot, then it's me. If anyone is being put down, then I'm putting myself down. If anyone's taking the piss, then I'm taking the piss of myself. If I'm taking a piss of anyone else, it's because I'm so cosmopolitan that I'm able to take the piss out of somebody else because I've taken a piece of that and put that into myself, my own personality. There's nothing to fight about. If there's a conflict, take responsibility for yourself and for the other person, so there's nothing to fight about. If you're overpowering somebody else's will with your will, then stop doing it. That can only cause conflict. If someone's overpowering your will with their will, you don't fight back against that. Just stand out of it. Become like smoke that they're trying to grasp in their fists. Slip straight through the fingers. Don't fight back against it. Become formless. Don't give any energy to the fight back against it. Just accumulate all your energy for your will, your God-given free will, to be in your control, your harness. And if you take offense, put the bastard fence back where you found it and leave it there. I don't understand why people take fences. The fence was there, leave the fence. What are you doing going and taking a fence? There's absolutely nothing to gain from taking offence. There's no point to it. There's nothing to gain. All you're going to do is upset yourself and at least one other person generally. Fences are there to contain things. If you're going to take the fence, then whatever it was that was being contained by that fence or kept out by that fence suddenly is going to intercede and impermeate into everything else and is going to be a pollution. So don't take offence. And if you have, put the fence back. Or if you can't put the fence back, at least put the fence down. And if it's going to get in the way, then burn it. Or do whatever you got to do. Put the fence down. Put the fence back. Don't pick it up again. Don't take offence. I think that's enough for now. This was meant to just be something about support and love and appreciation for everyone. We all have hard times. We're all in this together. So when you're contemplating leaving before it's your time, remember you're breaking a contract with yourself, contract with God. You'll be put straight back into a body without any choice. And if you can get something from me, get that there's something inside yourself that is bigger than the entire universe, but it's within you, and you have that power. That same power that makes the universe exist is what's making you exist. It is you. You've got that in you. You are that. You are life. You are expression. You are God. The definition of God is a being that creates. And you're creating a hell of a turmoil for yourself. You're creating a hard time for yourself. You're creating misery. You're creating depression. You're creating stress. You're creating angst. You're creating all of this disharmony. You're creating disease. Or you're creating a beautiful life. You're creating heaven. Creating love, creating romance, creating gratitude, creating grace. Whatever you're creating it because you're a creating being. You're God. I am you. In Lakesh. Namaste. Uru.